Welcome everybody to Salesforce Live at Dreamforce. This is the first of our technical talks coming to you live from across the street from the DevZone. And one of the things we're doing this year in the DevZone is that we have invited some luminary speakers to come and talk about bigger topics, not just Apex code and formula fields, but what's going on around us in the tech industry. And so I'm excited to invite three of those guests to come and talk with us today. And I want to hear about what they're working on and what they're going to be talking about in the DevZone. For those of you who are watching at home who were not able to make it to Dreamforce, we wanted to share a little bit of what we're doing this year. So I'd like to just have each of the guests introduce themselves after I remember to introduce myself. I'm Mary Scotton. I'm a developer evangelist at Salesforce. So let's just everybody introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm really excited to be here, Mary. My name is Ashara, Ekundayo. I'm the creative officer and co-founder at Impact Hub Oakland and the director of Omi Gallery there.
All right, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
My name is Estella Pyfrom. I am the founder and executive director for Estella's Brilliant Bus. And we take mobile technology into the neighborhood. Bus with a mission on a movement.
Right on.
My name is Kalimah Priforce from Brooklyn, New York, where I make hackathons at Keynote Labs, and I'm a 2013 Equine Green Fellow.
All right. Well, I'm so thrilled that you all are joining me today, have this conversation, and that you're all able to present in the DevZone. I want to maybe talk a little bit about what you're going to be talking about in your presentations. Now, Ashara, you presented this morning, and you talked about radical inclusion at Impact Hub Oakland.
Right.
Tell me, what is radical inclusion, and why is that important at Impact Hub?
Well, we actually have first of all, Impact Hub is part of a global network of co-working spaces and event venues. Each hub takes on the personality of the city and the founders. Our hub in Oakland happens to feel like Oakland. Doesn't feel like San Francisco, doesn't feel like Prague, doesn't feel like Oaxaca. It feels like Oakland. Mm-hmm. So radical inclusivity is one of the principles of which we founded our business on, and it's one of the ways in which we engage community, our members, folks coming from the outside, and each other. So it's a combination, really, of principles that say authenticity, beauty, fun, creativity, innovation, inspiration, all of that brings everyone to the table. Everyone's voice is valuable. And being really open and out front around conversations around creative, cultural, and economic equity is actually how we've built our business, our business model. So radical inclusivity is the overarching theme.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been to Impact Hub, not just to get the t-shirt, but to two of the events that you've held, and the space just feels so welcoming.
Yeah, thank you.
And I love the energy there and the art and the programs that you're running. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sharing that with us. And you spoke this morning in the DevZone. How did that go? Was it fun?
And it was super fun. I mean, what an amazing event this is. I've never seen anything like it at all. And so it was really super fun to be in the innovation zone and on the theater stage, and I got to present with my son. So I thought, let's mix it up a little bit and be diverse and bring a DJ. So that was really cool to have that little bit of hip hop energy to be the undercurrent of the presentation, and it was really good.
I saw a few people.
I saw them,
kind of feeling it. I liked it.
Sort of like this DJ back here behind us. He's
so we
killing
got some.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you for the invitation.
Sure.
It's great.
Sure. Well, the first event that I went to at Impact Hub Oakland happened to be run by Keynote Labs, and Yes We Code is the hackathon for Black Male Achievement. Kalimah, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So Keynote Labs, we try to be a leading provider of inclusive hackathons. And we started off as a software development company, and then we decided that after the George Zimmerman verdict, that Silicon Valley needs to address the question, could an app have saved Trayvon Martin? And then that's what launched the first Black Male Achievement Hackathon, as well as partnering with Prince and Van Jones and Yes We Code to launch a hackathon at Essence Festival this year. We're launching 2 hackathons later this year and 8 hackathons next year. And so that's really important, that when you walk into a hackathon, you want to make sure that you see people there who not only look like you and come from where you come from, but can also share very similar experiences about what problems they want to solve, not just 3 a.m. pizza.
Right, and that's what really struck me about the hack in Oakland was they weren't just, I'm going to build an app to order pizza on my watch. It was, I'm going to build an app to solve a problem in my community. And so, and Estella, I know you went to the Essence Hack with a few folks on your bus. Tell me about that.
I did go to the Essence Festival for the first time. Not the first time, but the first time for this event. And I was excited because I was part of the first technology activity for the Essence, and I had an opportunity to participate in the first hackathon connected up with that. And we were really excited about it. We were pretty apprehensive about going because we weren't sure what was going to happen, but it turned out really, really well. Our girls won first, second, and third prize and runner-up.
Wow.
And the boys won first prize in their category. So they all came back saying, yay, we are happy that we participated.
Technology is cool.
Yes.
Right. And is that what you're after, in kind of sparking that interest in technology in the kids who are, coming through either on the bus or in the hackathons?
Well, we are interested in technology, but the main focus of the Brilliant Bus is to be able to provide technology in the underserved neighborhoods. So we specialize in taking learning to the neighborhoods because it helps bridge the gap between those who have and those who have not. But while we are there, we not only introduce them to technology and education, we're able to serve the community. So the Brilliant Bus is not just a bus with computers. It's a bus with a mission on a movement, and it keeps us moving.
Yeah.
We know that we are making a difference.
Yeah. It's not a single-faceted challenge, right? So, are you interested in tech? But what are all the challenges about where you're coming from or what the barriers might be? I think about having these presentations in the DevZone. Usually our presentations, code, there's no code, no presentation. So, well, why are we talking about diversity and tech here in the DevZone this year? And it's because we have this amazing admin and developer community who's already working in their own developer groups or user groups in their communities, and a lot of them are doing good within the community, and I'd love to activate them all and say, hey, here's some things that you can get involved in. So if there's one thing that our listeners could do, what would you suggest, or what is what's the most powerful way that they can make an impact?
Well, one thing that's really important is that, and that's something that Estella plugged in, which was community. We wouldn't have been able to hold the hackathons up to date if it wasn't for Ashara and Ekundayo and the amazing team at Impact Hub Oakland. They were able to help us create a favorable environment for these kids. That when you look at the developer community, you're also looking at those who either had some early exposure through their parents or through their neighborhoods or schools to coding. And so the problem isn't just being able to teach these kids code, like Estella was saying. It's being able to convince their church leaders. It's being able to convince their teachers, be able to convince their mentors that this is a path, that STEM is a beneficial career path for them. And if they choose early, then they'll do much better in school and in their life.
So now you just said STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. It's quiz, but I've heard you say STEAM. What does that mean?
Kalimah knows I'm a total STEAM.
All right, talk about STEAM.
So I don't want to separate, and don't think we should separate art from this conversation around technology and tech innovation. One of the examples that I give a lot is actually the gamer industry, folks who create games, and all of the children and young and old folk who love to play the games, love to play them because they're realistic, because they're beautiful, because they have great music in them, because they're realistic, and an artist did that.
Right.
An artist worked on the team with the developers, with the coders to hack that. And so, when I think about the work that we do at Impact Hub Oakland, in addition to providing a really cool space and having really amazing events where we hope that there's intergenerational conversation happening, young folks, elder folks get to be in partnership with each other and convene, we also are looking at the community engagement through creative placemaking and through art making. So that we don't separate the conversation of your creative energy from what you need to do to get done to be this great new social entrepreneur, or to sit there and hack. I mean, you are tapped into your creativity in order to be able to sit there and write lines and lines and lines of code. Or
building.
if you're really great and you write a short amount of code and it does like an amazing amount of, things as well. And so, there's this opportunity for us to continue to encourage young people to be creative. And it's not, be a hacker, a developer, and not be an artist. It's really use this opportunity to build out the options around art inside of your work.
Right, and so I think that's a key, at least what I've read about, trying to inspire kids.
Yeah.
Like, well, I just don't want to sit and code all day, and it doesn't seem interesting to me. And when you say, well, you can pair that with your passion. What are you excited about? And the Google has a website called Made with Code. Have you seen that? Where they have, their videos are saying, hey, I program, but I'm also a dancer, and here's how I put those two things together. And I think that's, one way to kind of get at the kids. Estella, when you go into a community, are the kids interested in tech, or are you selling tech, as a career or as a spark?
The bus is, when I go into a community, the bus is like a carrot. And I know in these underserved communities, there are so many needs, and we are able to get in the communities and help assess the problem, and we are very good listeners. So we hear about all of the problems that they have, and we connect with people like Kalimah and other people to help us with those problems. So we really get excited with that. We have a lot of partners all over the county. We have partners all over the nation, and together we join in focusing on the same mission. And we know that in these underserved communities, it's not just one problem or two problems, but many of them. And we don't glide into a community with the fancy bus to say, let's all do computers. We use that to get in there, but we work while we are in there. But we listen, and then we say, let's get together, and what are your greatest needs? And then we reach out to our partners to help. People ask me, being an older lady, how did you get into technology and why? And are you very good at it? Well, I don't have to be that good because I'm surrounded with people like Kalimah and other people who can help me with those things that I'm not very good at. So with the help of what we are able to do and the help of our partners, we're able to do many, many, many things. And I think this is what blows people's mind. So we have partners from all over the nation. And our mission is to reach out to these communities, not just in the state of Florida, not just in the U.S., but around the world. And I'm a firm believer that, someone said this, that every city in the United States and in the world could benefit from a brilliant bus.
Brilliant bus. So that would be, we'd need more than one brilliant bus probably. We'd need maybe a few.
Fleet.
Like a fleet. Like maybe
because we do many things with that bus.
I want to get on the brilliant bus. So, and that's, we have listeners right now who are not in San Francisco here at the conference. They're all over the world. And so, part of this is, I really want our developers to be thinking about, inclusion, right? When they go back to work, is there something, they can do in the workplace to make it more welcoming for everyone? Like how do you do that?
I mean, there are lots of different ways. I mean, I think it starts with your own inner work, because you have to be willing to check yourself and say, okay, do I have some preconceived notions? Do I have some ideas around folks, whether they be a different color, a different race, if you believe in the construct of race, different educational level, whatever. Where can I find myself in their story? Because there's something in there for each of us. We have the opportunity to...
what's that connection?
Yeah, what's that connection? To just start with that. And there was a really fun thing that happened this morning when I did my talk. The audio engineer, the tech engineer, said, oh, you know what? We have African-American ear things. And I said, what? I said, is that for girls with big cool earrings? And he laughed. He said, no, they're actually toned darker. And I said, how smart, how culturally competent of you to have that. He said, but I forgot to bring them, and I should have brought one for you. But I actually didn't know that existed. And I just thought, you know what? Someone thought of that. I don't know if it was an artist, but someone thought of that. And I thought, what a great piece of technology. That's an innovation that is just a simple little thing offered up at a conference where it's like, oh, I know these have usually been light beige, but here's one that's dark brown. And I just thought that's a great example. That's something that Salesforce, initiated, and it's just great. I think it's great. It was thoughtful and mindful.
Yeah, and I feel like that is the heart of it, and kind of getting to your own, as I was growing up and coming out and after college and going to different events, I see these layers of cultural awareness and cultural stumbling and learning, and having conversations about things like Band-Aids and the color of Band-Aids, and the fact that I can drive fast and not be super, super worried about being stopped. There are, researchers are talking about all of those layers. So I feel like there's an awareness and about inclusion and about other people's experience that I think that's maybe the first step. And also checking your own bias, right? And that we all are carrying that. So, Kalimah, what do you find, like when you start to work with the youth or put together a hackathon, or if you go into a community to a hackathon, what do you find there in terms of inclusion, or do you finding any barriers?
Well, we're launching a hackathon for the My Brother's Keeper initiative in connection with the White House in Philadelphia, November 14th through the 16th. And we're launching a hackathon using our Ubuntu hack theme, which is inspired by Nelson Mandela and his legacy of South Africa, reconciliation. We're doing the same thing in Ferguson in a couple of weeks, November 1st. And with those hackathons and hackathons that we're doing next year in 2016, 2017, what's really important is that, I applaud the work of Ashara and Estella, is because, Frederick Douglass said that once he learned how to read, he was no longer able to become a slave again. No one can make him a slave. And coding is a literacy of the 21st century. But the way we treat it, the way we teach it, I started a computer company when I was 16, but my heart is as an educator. And the way we approach coding is that, we give them a Webster unabridged dictionary and say, there you go, here, learn to read. And I believe that with the work that they're doing, the work that many are doing in this space of tech inclusion, is to be able to break it down, to actually form a curriculum, form a culturally relevant curriculum that works for these communities. And I think that anywhere you go, and whoever's listening, whoever's watching, wherever you're at, do that. Find a way to be able to break down these really difficult concepts and make it accessible for these young people. That's inclusion.
Okay. Estella, what kind of curriculum do you have on Estella's Brilliant Bus that draws the kids in?
Well, first I want to say before we leave the coding part is that when I first heard about the coding, I was introduced by James Hines, and I said, what is a hackathon? What is coding? And then he went on to tell me that it was when they attack a problem and then find a solution to it, and they get together and build this app to address that. So I said, that sounds very exciting. But one of the things that excite me about this project that I'm doing is that we're able to, when you're the type of person where people just gravitate to you and you have something to offer, that's exciting. And then when you listen and find out what the problems are and know that you got something that you can offer, that's exciting. The other part that's exciting is that we don't have to grade our kids. We can serve adults, kids, no matter what their ethnic group is, no matter what age level or grade level they're on, we can serve them. And I think this is fascinating to most people. How do you serve, and how do you pick your kids, and how do you schedule them? Well, when we go into a neighborhood, we know exactly how long we're going to be there because we've already had that conversation ahead of time. So we know how long we're going to be there, what we're going to do when we go there, and basically who we are going to see. We don't care if they're 3-year-olds or up. We can make it work for all. And that's exciting to us and unbelievable for most people. Another thing that's exciting to us is that with one bus, we need a fleet of them. But we can only be in one place at one time. But we have a phenomenal homebound program where we reach hundreds of kids in a home as long as they have internet or a tablet or something. But the benefit of having partners is that We partner with the communication company to help us, those who cannot afford internet. We partner with another company to help us provide computers if they don't have it. So we are reaching out to people who can provide computers and other types of technology devices, whatever, so that we can just reach the world in a short period of time.
That sounds like a good plan. So, well, we're getting let's wrap it up cue. So I just want to see if there's any last thoughts you wanted to share with our awesome admin and developer community.
Just, the need for collaboration. Open collaboration with your most authentic self is really important. It provides us the opportunity to learn from each other, to provide space for each other, place, space, and people. It's important. And to expand what we think our partners might look like, because there might not be a bus yet in Oakland, but what there is a space where the bus can pull up to, and we can invite even more kids to come and do a workshop that day or a hackathon that weekend, and they can get back on the bus and go back to their community and invite their friends to come.
Okay.
What's exciting is that in order to start, you don't have to have a bus. The bus will come later because the concept is there, the connection is there. And as long as there are great people like you guys, we can connect and we can get the wheels on the bus rolling at any point.
We're going to sing. Are we going to sing the wheels on the bus? Is that what's going to happen?
Oh.
Wait. Oh, see, Kalimah, do you have any last thoughts you want to share?
Just a snippet of my presentation tomorrow is that we're in a golden age of tech inclusion heroes, as you can see. And Van Jones and the Yes We Code initiative, us heroes need to have a headquarters. And they've been doing a great job expanding the conversation that we're having in Silicon Valley, in Oakland, in Florida, in New Orleans, everywhere, globally, about the importance of making sure that the folks who we could hire, who have the skills, they could be right next door.
They can be right there. Well, you three are heroes to me, and I'm excited that I had a chance to share your stories with our developer community. And I thank everybody for watching, and hope to see all of you here at Dreamforce next year in the DevZone.